Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim Matthews. Tim, what's going down, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Good. I am too. So, guys, we do have a question coming in here. This is a question from a guy. We'll just call him Chris. And so Chris sent something. He posted it into our private membership. And I won't read the whole post here per se, but it goes on to say, the question is essentially, Tim, what do you do if your wife is not confident in bed or about her body? Sex for her is just another task on her list.
Okay. There's two different conversations there, isn't there? One is around sex being a task.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is what to do if your wife isn't confident in a body or with sex. So I'm going to start with the first one because I think there's two different approaches to both these questions. So the thing that comes to mind for me, and I'm thinking about Amelia and I'm thinking about the guys that we've worked with and what tends to bring about the biggest shifts in the intimacy and the desire as well within the relationship. So in terms of the confidence piece, what we've found when the men come to us, oftentimes what has affected the woman's confidence is the guy often complaining, right? Whether he's complaining about sex or whatever it is, complaining about the intimacy, right? And the thing is, women typically don't grow through challenge, right? They grow through praise. So it's kind of like women are a lot like flowers, right? As men, we cannot change the women in our life, right? Or the woman in our life. The women in our life would be polygamy. We cannot change the woman in our life, right? So we can certainly influence the environment that she is in. And that's why she's certainly like a flower. Like you cannot force a flower to grow, but what you can do is put it in an environment with the right amount of sunlight and give it water. And you can really influence the environment that it's in, which encourages it to blossom and grow and develop, just kind of like a woman can do. And the way that you can create that environment is by focusing on yourself without judging her or making it about her. So oftentimes, I'll use Amelia, for example. Let's say we're coming up to Christmas, right? Let's say over the past few years, what we'll do is we'll tend to have a couple of weeks off being healthy, really, at Christmas and just kind of let loose a bit and do, if we want to work out, we'll work out. If we don't, we don't, right? But by the end of that period, obviously, both of us have gone into a few bad habits. Now, if I then start to say, hey, look, we need to go work out. Hey, let's get back in the gym. Hey, you should really work out. Let's get working out again. You should do. What do you think happens? She tends to close down. Whereas if I just take the lead and go, right, and I don't even really make a big announcement about it, but start to work out again and start to eat clean again, usually after a week or two, Amelia starts to, do you know what? I'm going to go to the gym. And she starts to make changes herself as well. But she doesn't make a change if she feels pressure from me to make a change. And that kind of feeds into the same thing with your wife and her confidence, right? If you're out there leading and praising her and making her feel sexy and making her feel desired by whatever it is you want to do, maybe whispering little things in her ear throughout the day of how she looks, or sending her a little message during the day of something that she did that day. Women are very big on being seen, right? I can remember years ago, Amelia said, "What do you love about me?" And I said, "Oh, I love your eyes, and honestly, I love your ass." And yeah, she's like, "Yeah, but that isn't me. They're things on my body. What do you love about me?" She didn't feel seen, right? Whereas now if she asks that, I may say, "Well, do you know what? I love the way that you really love animals, for example. And I love how you just get so passionate when you talk about improving the health of the dogs." Or just an example, right? It's me recognizing her characteristics and how she is and praising those in her. So find the equivalent with her body, find the equivalent with the intimacy, and praise her and take the pressure off her and see how that creates an environment where she can start to relax and feel connected to you. And the desire is a separate conversation. I mean, this will help with some of the desire, but the desire piece is a separate conversation because that isn't a logical thing. I mean, you'll create desire by default by doing some of this stuff, by leading and being connected to her. You will create some of the desire. But I think if I were you, in this instance, this is where I'd be starting.
It's great advice. And I totally agree with you. And I think the thing that's often a couple things here that I would love to add on to here, and I know you can go on with this forever, Tim, is, one is leading by example. It's just like your kids, right? Your kids are watching you rather than just listening to you. And it's the same thing. If you just start working out and you start doing things, your wife's got two choices, right? She's going to notice regardless. She's either A, going to beat herself up and not do anything, or B, she's going to take the toe and start working out. And if she doesn't, that's where shame and guilt comes in. And that's probably what's happening here. Because most of the men that go through our programs, they start really taking care of their health again. It's just a byproduct of loving yourself, really. And the thing I can tell you is that if sex for her just seems like a task, it's because she's not enjoying it, right? And it's not that unless there's a hormone issue, which there could be, right? Menopause, there could be a hormone or a medical issue. That is so rare, guys. So rare that's the real issue. Usually it is around her confidence, right? And how she believes you perceive her. Now, if you haven't already, right? If you're saying things about a female body, if you said them in the past, or you said anything disparaging about her body or about another woman's body around her, then she is going to notice that and she takes it in. We talk about the Madonna complex in episode 409. So go back and listen to that because we do go over a little bit of that stuff which I think would come in play here. And you really want to reinforce the habits you want to see more. So if you want to have more sex in bed, right? One is most people enjoy sex more when they feel they are sexier. It's not as much about the other person. I mean, it is, right? You want your wife to be hot, and I get that. She wants you to be hot. But also when you feel sexy, it's just even better. So she gets to feel sexy. And what is that for her? And, if she's a little fluffy, maybe compliment something else about her, right? Oh, I love to feel your touch. I love the way you do this, this, and this. Now, another thing, we've had several men, some guys have reached out to me that are actually involved in the movement. And they said, Doug, how my wife and I don't even talk about sex. It's just too awkward. We grew up really close to it. One guy said in the church, and, it's just not something we just can't talk about. And they have kids. I mean, they have sex. They don't talk about it. So how do you bridge that gap, right? Right now, if she's not feeling sexy, she's saying, I'm guessing that's another task on her list. She's crying out that she wants to feel sexy. Every woman wants to feel sexy. Every woman. And every woman wants to feel loved and appreciated. And as Tim said, seen in a clear way. What some of the guys have done is they've gotten apps on their phone that educate them and their partner. We did that thing, which is a questionnaire that goes through you'd give it to your partner. You check all the boxes of things that you're interested in the bedroom and intimacy. And she checks the ones she's interested in, and you share them, right? So that spurs on conversation with everybody because some of the stuff you're just got to freaking Google. You're like, what is this? And most of it's pretty, I wouldn't say vanilla, but what it is going through there. So these are ways of just constantly spurring the conversation. But first and foremost, you get to make her feel sexy, whatever that means to her, right? And maybe that's just her feminine nature. Maybe she's just super sexy because she laughs, right? She's got that laugh that gets you every time. And chances are, if she's not feeling sexy, you haven't heard her laugh that much either, I would guess. And so how do you get to bring out that side of her more? And as Tim said, it's about leadership. It's about leading. Now, again, it could be a medical issue. I don't know that, right? And, but my experiences, and we've worked with thousands of men, in my experience, it's very rarely a medical issue. It's kind of like, you talk to women who are overweight, right? A lot of people say, it's my thyroid. It's such a low percentage of people. It's their thyroid. It's not their thyroid. It's the failure to put down the spoon when they're eating the ice cream. It's the failure to go to the gym and exercise. It's the failure to make good choices, right? Because they have decision fatigue and not sleeping well, all these other things. It's not thyroid. That's the issue. And just like when we hear men complain so much that their wife has a low sex drive, that's not true. Because some of these same men that come to us and say, my wife's got a low sex drive, end up finding out that their wife is having an affair. Right? It's just that she's not feeling sexy with you right now. And that could be because she looks up at you so much, right? It could be she looks up to you and thinks of you as this Adonis that you probably are. And she just doesn't feel comfortable in her own skin. She doesn't feel good enough. Right? She's your partner. She's your life partner, right? She's the woman you love. You looked in the eyes. You don't want her to feel that way. So what do you get to do with her to help her? You know, there's coaching programs for women that directly cover this altogether. We did a video, gosh, Tim, I did with my wife a year ago, almost at this point, maybe, where I had a whiteboard out on a 10-foot whiteboard, all the things that women want. Like we were talking about, you know, coaching, my wife coaches women, and she filled that whole friggin' whiteboard. And a lot of it was around not being seen, not being felt good enough. Every woman's got body issues. I don't care who you are. I used to have models train at my gym when I owned a gym, and they had the most body image issues. Every woman does. And our job as men, as leaders, as men who love these women and men who want to get them in the bedroom as well and have fun. We want it to be fun for them, is to compliment them and make them feel good in their own skin. Because the rest of the world is airbrushing photos and telling them they're too fat, not tan enough, not white enough. Their teeth aren't white. Their eyebrows are too close. They need to be plucked. Their hair needs to be braided. Their clothes aren't good enough. The clothes are too good. It's a $1 billion industry telling them that they're ugly. And our job is to let them know in their soul how beautiful they are. And that will help you take it into the bedroom.
Nothing to add. It's spot on.
So we'll call this guy Chris. So Chris, you're looking at this, I would really look at here, what is your languaging around your wife and other women? How has it been? Right. And a lot of times it's going to be it's just going to be things you say, right? Maybe you make a comment about a woman on TV or in the movies or something. Is it causing, could it be interpreted by your wife that you're very nitpicky or that she doesn't have these traits? And how often per day do you compliment her? How many times per day do you compliment? Keep a log. You might be shocked. My guess is that you're not going to have a per day amount. It's probably going to be a per month if you're like most of us, and like the way I used to be too. I literally have an alarm on my phone to remind me to compliment my wife every day. Every day it goes off. It's one of the reminders. It's set, and I don't hit it all the time. Honestly, I don't, but I try, and I'm working on it. Because I'm working on it because I want the same thing you want here, Chris, and just make sure. And the sexier she feels, right, about her body, women tend to take care of their body more. They start to feel sexy about it. It's kind of interesting, right? The more you're going to see her desiring sex more often and the intimacy increasing. Great question, Tim. Awesome advice, my friend, as always. That's why you're Tim, the powerful man Matthews. And guys, if you're finding yourself in this situation, really look at what's going on. Go back and listen to the Madonna Complex and see if that helps you out. See if that actually applies. Episode 409, I think I said. Had to look it up. We have all of our podcast episodes on our website. It's at thepowerfulman.com. That's thepowerfulman.com. Click on podcasts. You can do a search and search for the topics and things you want. Our team spends a lot of time producing those to make sure that you guys have access to them and going through them. So go back and re-listen to a lot of these episodes. That's why one of the reasons we do revisits is they're the most popular ones and the ones we feel we picked out that the guys need to listen to the most. But either way, guys, remember, make it fun. Make it fun. Sex is meant to be fun. Intimacy is meant to be fun. Make it fun. Get that giggle back in your girl's voice, right? And just play.
I just want to touch on that point before we jump off here about making it fun. I was speaking to a guy, we were speaking to a guy a few weeks ago who wanted to win his wife back, right? They were currently separated. And he said, look, Tim, I'm doing everything right. He'd been through another men's program, and this isn't to talk about any program. But he'd been through another men's program, and he was saying, look, I'm doing everything right. I'm leading, I'm listening, I'm creating boundaries. It was all about leadership. And everything was very logical. And I asked him, I said, hey, would you consider yourself a logical guy? And he said, yeah, I am. And there was a lot of pride in it, because I imagine in areas of his life, maybe business, serves him really well.
Yep.
Yeah, he's applying the same logic to try and win his wife back, sending her these text messages that are super rigid and logical, and it's pushing her further away, because desire isn't a logical thing. It's an emotional, it's an emotion. Let's just call it that, right? And the reason why it's there in the beginning is because the playfulness that you have, the cockiness, the confidence, you make it light, you make it fun, right? You don't make it heavy and rigid. So it's an important thing to just remember when you're experiencing dips in the intimacy that you want to reignite. Don't come at it from a logical place, because it's not going to work.
No, it's really not. Great advice as always. And guys, just remember, it takes two in the bedroom. And the more wild and free your wife is outside of the bedroom, the more wild and free she'll be inside the bedroom. Right. And that has to do with your connection with her. This is where the triadic connection comes in. We keep coming back to the triadic connection over and over again. If you're not doing the basics, it's just not going to work. Right. Like going to the gym, you can focus on the amount of niacin and B vitamin you need in your body. But if you're trying to gain muscle, but if you're not lifting the weights, you're not doing the basic movements, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So stick to your triadic connection, Chris. Make sure you're doing all those other things too, and then go to these details, right, with the intimacy. Guys, keep those questions coming. That's a wrap for us on this episode of the Powerful Man Show. And what we're going to be doing is going further into these questions. We have a backlog from you guys. They're absolutely fantastic. So keep them coming. Gentlemen, in the membership group, we'll have a thread there for you guys. In the free Facebook group, we'll have one there for you too. Until then, guys, as always, in the moment of insight, take massive action. We'll see you next time on the Powerful Man Show.